Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Janine Between the Lines, Literature and Lifestyle for Leisure. Thank you for joining me on this episode once more. This episode is part 2 of our Stormlight Sessions that I recorded with my good friend, Jordan. Thank you in advance for everyone listening and for dealing with all the technical issues that we were kind of braving through at the last episode. So this episode is coming at you guys later than expected just because my setup is due for an upgrade in terms of my computer system. A lot of the video footage that I got not only is unable to be stored on my computer and used to upload to my podcast channels, but my computer in general is just being trash. So sorry in advance, just because I really wanted to have video capability for this part 2 of the episode, and I definitely think it was so much fun to have Jordan on and record it that way. But if you want to listen to the episode, it will still be available here and everywhere you listen to podcasts. You just won't be able to see our beautiful faces the way you did in part 1. So also, disclaimer alert, this is definitely going to not be a spoiler-free episode of Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. So if you are joining here and you listen to the first episode and you really want to hear us talk about the 5th installment of the Stormlight Archive, then keep on listening. But if you haven't finished it yet, if you haven't read it yet, I would advise you read Wind and Truth first and then come back to this, and we would be so curious to hear your thoughts on our takes on each of these characters. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Make sure you like and subscribe us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, and you can find me on Instagram at Janine Between the Lines. But I really hope you enjoy this episode and just keep on listening. Just because I think I like when things are, now that I've been able to make sense of it and I know each character, because I feel like with differing POVs, I don't know if I'm just simple or like slower, but I need, like, it takes me longer to like digest it and know like, oh, what's going on and have a grasp on personalities.
Yeah.
And then in Knights of Rage, Cal, spoke the ideals and he's powerful now. And then that one was like, arguably, it was pretty action packed. That one read so fast for me. I think I flew through Words of Radiance because I was so like jazzed about finally learning like this whole world and being like, holy crap, this is an intense thing that I've started.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to stop when I read Words of Radiance.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you asked me that question an hour from now, I'd have like a slightly different rating system.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just need to read them all again and then,
a third time.
And then form an opinion. I'll stick to what I said so far.
I don't think there's a wrong answer here.
No, there was not a single one that I didn't like.
Very true.
I liked all of them. It's like hard to put one at 5 because the 5th one could be up higher.
Yeah. Is it superfluous to say? I don't know if that's the right word that I'm reaching for, but would you give all 5 of these books a 5 out of 5?
Probably, or like close to.
Yeah. I think I was stingy and I gave Oathbringer a 4.5.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for my own personal, but like as a collection itself.
Yeah.
It has to be a 5.
Yeah. I think maybe if I went back to Oathbringer, like I'd have to see like how slow it felt again. But I think like my lasting memory is of the end. And like when Dalinar opens the perpendicularity for the first time, I was literally like reading, sitting there, like silence, and I was just like, oh shit. Like out loud.
Verbally.
They got like a big reaction out of me. So I think I like remember that.
Yes.
Or, like when Zeth came down from the sky and like stabbed through one of the thunderclaps. And, like, I don't know. It was just a very epic
everything
conclusion to that one.
That's the only way to describe if you were to describe this in one word, it's epic.
It's epic.
Stormlight, epic.
Yeah. Yeah. Epic and like satisfying. And yeah. It's like not everything that you want to happen ends up happening, but like you're still okay with what happens because it's like so cool how Sanderson gets from A to B.
And that was extremely apparent in the last book.
Yeah.
I just remember being at work, just either chuckling or like, or like Christine right next to me, just like, what are you moaning about? And I'm just like, I can't do this. And I put it down and take a lap. It was an intense ride, that last freaking book.
Yeah. And he just spun it together so well. Like I remember like seeing you one morning and you had just gotten to like, I don't know, the end of day 7 or whatever it was. And you were just like, oh my God, there's like, everyone is not doing well. How is any of this going to end up fine? And like, everyone's so separated and so like not near their goals yet. It's like, how is he possibly going to like figure this out? And then he does just so perfectly. You're
really good at, you're pretty good at surprises. Like you kept a really straight face and you didn't give anything away. I'm really bad at that.
I mean, I think I would be so depressed if I like had ruined anything for you. So I think it's just very important for me to not give anything away. I wanted you to experience it.
Yeah, it hurt me, but in the best way possible. And I didn't think, I don't know why I say this, but I think you look at a picture of Brandon Sanderson and you think, okay, he might be a little nerdy, but the man has range. I did not expect the depth of what was going to be included in this book. Mm-hmm. It's so much more than just magic and powers and fighting and monsters and, different wars and races against each other, which, is like the basis and like a foundation of a lot of like our core fantastical kind of nerdy things that we consume. Mm-hmm. But you could extrapolate and like relate a lot of the issues that he deals with to our day-to-day world right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't you think so? Especially with like each character arc is like there were such a handful where like as you get to know them and watch them grow and change. There are 2 in this list that I put same, because I related to them.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think there was a lot that was relatable. It was like he explained like human nature and, and you got to see some decisions made and then later on found out more information from their backstory that explained why they're making certain decisions. And you could definitely relate and be like, I would have done that too.
Yes.
So yeah, he must have like a psychology degree or something.
Exactly.
Too, because he did it really well. And like, there was no like decisions or anything that was made where you're like, why would that have happened?
Yeah.
Like, am I just supposed to imagine why or something? It was like, everything was like, that makes sense. But it wasn't like it was predictable.
I'm a little ashamed of myself that I haven't dived a little bit deeper into his background and like his education.
Yeah, but I don't know much about him other than that. He's like really talented writer.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I really want to meet you.
Yeah.
Speaking of characters we relate to, not only did I write a list, probably not the most extensive list, but as I was planning this podcast, I was trying to think of like the most hit-worthy characters and ones that I felt made a lot of impact on me that stuck in my head at the end of Wind and Truth, because we're going to have a lot of time. We're going to have a lot of time in between the next 5 books to ruminate on how these characters have grown and developed and everything. Yeah. So I thought it would be fun to just shout out a name and we'll talk about either one thing that was very impactful from that character or like what about that character sticks out to you at the end of reading Wind and Truth.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
I'm going to randomize
Do my best.
Okay.
All right.
So like the first thing you think of when I say this name, I want you to say.
Okay.
Okay. Seth.
Seth. Man, just such a great like villain turned like protagonist with such a deep like traumatic background that like he did a lot of like really bad vile things that could make you hate him, but at the end of it you like completely understood and I didn't feel like any of this was his fault.
Do you think Cal is his best friend?
It's hard to say because it's like provider client kind of interaction there. I don't know if there's any ethical issues with that. But I think Cal was the first person that Zeth really felt like just wanted him to do what he wanted to do. He was the only person, I think he even said this in the book, that like didn't ask anything of Zeth, just wanted Zeth to figure things out.
I'm emo.
Yeah. Why?
Oh, that just makes and I feel like Cal had to come so far to be able to even impart that on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think like Cal like dealt with similar issues, like not his arc wasn't like Zeth's at all, but he had a lot of trauma in his background as well, and like dealt with it a lot differently than Zeth, but still like was
still very violence forward.
Yeah, and was at the point where he wanted to end things, and then he was able to figure it out, and then then use his experience to help Zeth.
It's very
and Nail and
it's weirdly parallel.
Yeah.
I wrote, is he the opposite of Cal or Cal in a different life?
I don't think you could say that they're the opposite.
No.
I think that
they've got some
has like a lot of similarities, and like in the same situations could have definitely made like the same decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into Cal then.
Okay. Cal's just incredible.
Yeah. I think in your very wise terms, you said he's the most awesome therapist around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's what he became, but he was so many different things, and he was like, on the verge of wanting to end it all. And then he had such highs and such lows. And, sometimes I would say that he really frustrated with me with, I don't know, I'm trying to think of examples, just like, I don't even know.
Well, I think the frustration comes from, it was very purposeful on Sanderson's part, but just like seeing him like doubt his own intentions and goodness, like even just talking to Syl, just like beating himself up about, oh, why shouldn't or I should be fighting, or I should do this, or I should do that. Like, it doesn't matter. You're a good person. You are. Like, it's, I don't know. Yeah. Like he's very hard on himself.
Yeah. And he just blamed himself for so many things that were like so clearly out of his control, but just that in his mind, he thought that he should have been able to control if situations were different. And, he's the perfect wind runner.
Oh, yes.
Like he like was already living the ideals before he knew to say them.
Yeah.
And which was obviously why Syl, they find out that she was with him for a lot longer than he was even aware of it, because he was already kind of doing that. And he just got in his own way mentally after, Tien died.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing he could have possibly done. He did everything he could, sacrificed like his life, basically saying like, I'm going to just join this military and I'm going to try to get good enough to be able to protect.
Yes.
So yeah, he's just a great character, and, he frustrated me, but it's probably because it seemed really real.
Yes.
And it was just like, you got to I know you're going to eventually get over this. So let's just stop moping.
Yeah. I wrote, purest sweet dream boy therapist ever. Well, we're talking about dream boys.
Yep.
Adolin,
I think, is my favorite character.
I wrote maybe the most admirable. How can you not
Definitely.
love this guy?
Definitely.
Oh,
and really,
he's
how could you not love him? He's like, every decision he makes is like honorable and like not really considering himself and just very selfless. And, you know, a lot of that like Dalinar imparted in him. And it was like the Dalinar that he knew growing up, not the Dalinar beforehand, the Blackthorn. You know, he learned all the honor and the, you know, regimented, strict behavior. And he kind of fought against that a little bit, like anyone his age would.
Yes.
But then was able to like realize why those things were taught to him and like really find his own way of being honorable without following the oaths, you know, and, you know, getting a spren and actually becoming radiant. He took his own path, and I think it was just so awesome. And
God, fashionista too. Just,
and really in the end, I feel like he had like the worst odds and was the only one that was able to like actually achieve what he meant to.
Yes, I agree. And despite his daddy problems, he has prevailed.
And I mean, who wouldn't have those daddy problems?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And he was in the midst of a war, like having to process that. And oh man, my heart ached so bad when I need to disclaimer this. Like, of course, whoever's not read Wind of Truth yet, I'll put it in the caption or something. But like when Navani was trying to encourage them to talk for the last, you know, there was so much like, you never know when you're going to see him again. Like, you need to hash this out. And then both of them just like, I can't, he won't want to talk to me that way. It's like, clear the air, guys. You know, you love each other.
Toxic masculinity.
Yes, that's one of those ones that he tackled in here for sure.
Yep. Don't share your feelings. Shove them down.
Shove them down.
Eventually, you
sake.
expect that they'll just kind of dissipate. They never really do, but you know, you just keep shoving stuff on top.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
Dalinar.
You know, he meant well, but he did a lot of things the wrong way. Yeah.
And I think he knew that.
He knew that, and he owned up to it. It's not like he would tell you he didn't make mistakes, but he, you know, I think that he should have been ruling, had better ideas than Elhokar, but really didn't give him a chance. And kind of like you saw in all the visions that Odium ended up putting him through when he was in the spirit realm.
Yeah.
Like he just didn't make the right moves, and he kind of just tried to beat his way through every problem.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he stopped doing that he actually like figured it out.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can blame him. I think he was dealt a pretty rough hand.
Yep.
But he wasn't one of the ones at the end that I was like, oh, he's one of my favorite characters. I think he was like a completely necessary character, but
not in top tier.
Yeah, not top tier. He was like, felt like the main character a lot of times, but like not the one that you're meant to like the most.
Yes, definitely not like actively rooting for, like, you know, he's key, but there were a few that were like my heart.
Yeah, and like the reader probably felt similarly to Adolin. Like at first we knew Dalinar, and we kind of, I agreed with all of his decisions, and I was like, yeah, Elhokar does need that beating, you know, to like get over himself and start leading and start being a king. But then as you learn more about his past and how he has this tendency to just, you know, bowl in a china shop through everything, he just kind of, I felt similarly to Adolin. I was like, kind of like bummed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like still rooting for him because I'm rooting for the good guys. But,
yes. But
yeah, he like definitely deserved to have Adolin like not really want to associate with him, at least for a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Navani.
I don't know. I really, I don't know how I felt if I was like in love with the whole like bondsmith with the tower thing at the end of the day.
Interesting.
But I really liked her in Rhythm of War, and like
Yep.
I think she was obviously brilliant.
Yes.
And did things the right way. And yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't put her as one of my favorite characters, but I thought she was a great character. I thought she was very necessary to the story.
She's one of my favorite females.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote role model, vixen lady smarty.
Well, yeah, I think maybe she just like a role model, just like she seemed to always do the right thing. She like, I maybe was a little bored by her, I guess, or something.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
I just like the idea that it seemed like her role was to push the envelope for at least women.
Yeah.
And she was not that my mind could handle it, but like the scientific like research portion of things kind of tickled a part of my brain that I liked, and her making the like the lift and stuff for Arethiru, and like I was going to say the pads, but like the levitation devices and things like that. I didn't understand all of it, but the fact that she was like a part of all that too. And in Rhythm of War, her kind of being able to outsmart, God, I forgot her name. The one that she defeated eventually.
Raboniel?
Yes, Raboniel.
Yeah.
I kind of liked her though too. She was a really cool villain.
I thought she was a great villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if these books could have been written from the perspective of the singers, and you could have felt like you wanted to root for them.
Oh, I know. Oh, God, that's the complex part.
Yeah.
Speaking
it's
of,
like Odium is the enemy, and he controls the singers at the end of the day. But like before you knew about Odium, and like the singers are a separate entity, I think, and they don't necessarily want exactly what Odium wants, but they just like most of them that were enslaved, like it wasn't like they wanted to become warriors right away. Like a lot of them were just like happy to be free, and have a mind again. And it was like Odium's influence that like pushed war and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's what created the listeners in the beginning, was because Baido Mishram just wanted this war.
Yep.
And they were just like, maybe we can just like go somewhere and chill.
Yeah.
And like,
maybe we can have just like
maybe
a
we can exist
landscape
in like a non-traumatic world where all there is death and fighting.
Is that so much to ask?
Yeah.
For them it was.
No, yeah, I guess so.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But yeah, Navani, I think, like, if you look at her and Yasna, like, both incredibly brilliant, but Navani just was much more, like, socially conscious and kind of, like, just, she was good.
Yes. Well, let's go to Yasna then.
Yasna, I think that it's clear that she was like extremely intelligent, but I think that she just got her in her own way. Like she was a little bit too smart for her own good.
Yes.
And like she was one that like knew that she was the smartest in the room and didn't try to like do that humbly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So people like calling her a heretic and like, her not really being popular. Yeah. I think has a lot to do with just her and the way that she treated other people.
100%. Look, I wrote, get your head out of your own ass.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think she finally had that moment at the end where she's like, wow, like maybe I'm not as great as I thought I was.
I know. It's like, such an integral moment too.
Maybe I need to do a little self-reflection instead of like putting all this judgment on everyone else.
Oh my God. I know. And when he was like, you are going to do all the arguing for me. Like you are going to be the reason why she comes to my side.
Yeah.
And she's like,
she
what?
always thought that she like followed like logic and she just did the right thing. And at the end of the day, what she ended up realizing is that she just loved Alethkar and loved her family and wanted to protect them. So like her base motives were good. She didn't go about it in a likable way.
Yeah. I love that. Looks like we're hitting all the ladies. So let's go to Shallan.
Shallan, I thought after like the whole arc at the end, I was like, wow, like such a great character.
Yes.
And I like really was rooting for her. I got bogged down with all of her personalities for a little while, and how
I agree.
They were so like split, like fragmented mind. But I love how he eventually like tied it back in, and they just, became like, she realized that she wasn't all these different people. She just had all these different skills, and she needed to be comfortable, like embracing the fact that she could kill if she needed to, but she needed to know that it was for the right reasons. And
exactly.
She could do the brave stuff. She just needed to get out of her own way.
Yes.
And then
dissociation gone right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously like Adolin helped with that, I think, too, because she finally like was herself in front of someone, and he was like, you're still all right. Like it's reasonable for you to be the way you are. And then that probably was like the thing that started the chain reaction that actually enabled her to like blossom and become who she really was meant to be.
Am I remembering things incorrectly? But no, first of all, before I ask that, were you shipping Kalan or Shaladin?
Wait, what?
When there was question if Cal and Shallan were going to be together.
Oh, did I want that?
Yeah, I wanted it a little bit. That's the romantic in me, though. I was like, they could be so powerful together.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it was written in a way that you like were meant to kind of want it. Yeah, but that's like, I think that's more based in like passion. Mm-hmm. When you really like think about it, it's like, no, that it makes sense that that's like not going to work out.
I guess so.
I think that would end up being like an annoying pairing, because Cal.
You think so?
Yeah, because Cal would be like so brooding and down, and then I don't know.
Very true. Yeah, they weren't. In the end, their compatibility was proven not to be good.
Yeah, and I didn't really know how compatible I thought that Adolin and Shallan were at the beginning. I didn't really like it.
I didn't really like it at first.
I didn't really feel like it was totally believable at first.
Yeah.
And, I thought that it was just what it was, an arranged thing.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I think, did she deserve Adolin? I think now she does.
Yeah, I think I would say yeah.
I may or may not have highlighted their vows to use in 2 months.
Yeah, I think she did deserve Adolin, because obviously if you know like her backstory, like who else would not be like totally trauma ridden and like in their own way, and like if I don't know, like the fact that she was able to eventually work out of that and like come into herself, I think is incredible. Like it would be very easy for her to have just given up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even more so than Cal, maybe.
Yep.
Because Cal like had the trauma of like losing his brother and all this stuff, but he still had his family, and he still like was a very competent warrior, and he had all these things going for him. He was just bogged down by the fact that he like had too much expectation for himself. Yeah. Whereas Shallan, like anyone in her position could have easily just like laid down and just never gotten up.
Yes. I think you're right at the end. And again, that's on the character growth, man.
And she needed to grow to be able to be in a healthy relationship. But I think in this case, it was like the partner that she found, Adolin, was someone that helped her grow. Wasn't like fighting against it at all. Yeah.
We're going to talk about one or two more characters, and then we're going to go on a tiny break.
Okay.
I'm gonna loop this into one, but Renarin and Elaine. Is that how you pronounce that?
I think it's Relaine. That's how they pronounce it, like in the audio.
Okay. For Renarin, I wrote blood weakness ? # same.
Live, laugh, Lovenox.
It's actually now down bad Dabigatran, so we're all good here.
Oh.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same ring to it, but
we'll just say Lovenox, just for
but
kicks.
it sounds better.
Yeah.
Sounds better. I don't know if I have as much to say on this. I liked their characters. Like when the chapter came and it was them, like I was still very interested, but I think I was more invested in some of the other things.
Yeah.
I did really like the concept of like them showing Ba Edo Mishram that it's not just like singers against against humans, and that it could coexist, and maybe Ba Edo Mishram was just the victim of a few bad eggs, and it wasn't just like indicative of everyone. That's
going to be super important, I feel like, in the next few books.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, Renarin was kind of like at the beginning, he was just seemed like he was like, oh, he's important just because he's like the other son.
Yeah.
And he had all that like the weird stuff going on. But I think in the end, it was cool to see him blossom.
Yeah.
And I definitely rooted for them, and I was rooting for that relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted them to get together. It was like
the tension.
It was like little palpable. Like it was very like middle school for a little while. Them like dancing around it and stuff. So I'm glad that they eventually figured that out.
Yeah,
they were obviously a necessary pairing to like kind of explain the ending and get to the point.
I agree
that they got to.
Yeah. He scared me a little at first.
Who? Renarin?
He was just kind of like a disconcerting guy. Like he's
he was strange.
He was strange, and I think that's like his brand.
I mean, that is his brand, because like everyone else in the book thought he was strange too. It wasn't just the reader. It was like everyone was like, "What is this guy doing?" He's like so against convention that it's like like people didn't know how to act around him. Kind of like Yanagan at the end of the day. Like, just so different than how you expect someone to act that you're kind of just like.
Yeah, a little off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the odd colon around here.
Yeah. Yeah. But like became good.
Yes. He's Bridge 4, no matter what they say, you know?
He is Bridge 4.
He is Bridge 4. Will always be Bridge 4.
And I'm glad that they ended up accepting him, because regardless of his status, he definitely needed what they provided.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of Bridge 4, I've got a bridge for my feet to get to the bathroom. So we're going to take a tiny break, and we'll be back to discuss the rest of the characters and the rest of the things that we've been loving this month. So hope you stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Yeah. We're back, and we have at least 3 more characters we have to get through.
All right.
Just to say we rounded it out, you know? We can't leave these people in the dark. Yeah. Taravangian.
Taravangian, just kind of like the ultimate supervillain.
I think, call back to the question I asked you before, he's the ultimate villain.
Well, I was kind of, I never gave an answer to that question. I was kind of thinking about him.
You were saving it?
No, I mean, like, that was one of the ones that popped in my mind. Obviously, we're doing the podcast for this. But that was one of the ones where I just did a quick think of, like, the different ones I could think of. I mean, he's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Because, like, once he took the power, that he, like, that's when he started having more capacity to do the evil things. But he was already doing some real sketchy stuff, like killing all those people to hear their death rattles and and just generally, like, he was already making deals with Odium to save his city and you know, sacrifice everyone else. He was very willing to, like, make the hard choice and not have it seem that hard, and just like do like the kind of devious.
God. And Dalinar just confiding in him.
Yeah.
He thought they were buds.
He did. I mean, I mean, I would have thought that they were buds too, but Taravangian was just a sketchy guy.
He's a dark bud.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how evil he gets in the next books.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, like, the 2 powers that he took up are kind of like competing, and you know, you can only be so dishonorable before the power of honor is going to reject you. You know, true. Like, so It's interesting. Like in Mistborn, there might be some related kind of situations. And yeah, it's like Taravangian, I don't think can necessarily just like follow a straight course everything he wants to do. He's gonna have to really like think about what each of the powers want and make sure that he can keep control of them.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think there's going to be a long road with him.
Yeah.
Also with Moash.
Just the worst.
I've never felt such vengeance that needed to be dealt with for a character than I have with Moash.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so weak, you know. It's like we've talked about so many different characters that went through traumatic experiences, and you know, and they dealt with it in many different ways, some good, some bad, but like Moash just couldn't get over the decision that Elhokar made that resulted in his loved ones' deaths.
Yep.
And like even once he found his home with Bridge 4 and he found his leader in Kaladin and like all these things, he just still couldn't get past it.
Yeah.
And he really let that destroy his life.
Yep.
Like the most recent Moash that we met, it seems pretty confident in his decisions and okay with what he's done. But like before he got the spikes through his eyes, he was really down and out. Like after the battle at Urithiru, he was like feeling the weight of having killed Teft. And so
he's like the opposite of honor.
Yeah, he really is.
He's pretty despicable.
He like when confronted with any like good or bad decision he just chose bad every time.
Yeah.
But like I never really loved at the beginning that Cal like felt like he was the one he was closest to, because Moash was like right from the get-go like the one that was hardest to convince.
Yes.
And like just kind of had his own idea about everything. So I never really like loved that pairing anyways. So yeah, I just think Moash is kind of just like a scumbag.
Yeah. Let's see how he measures up to facing a herald now.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's very powerful. I don't know everything about these spikes, but I think there are other books in the Cosmere that might have some information on them, but there's some slight differences. So we'll see. I think Moash is a very formidable opponent right now, I think.
I wrote so much more scary to come.
Yeah.
Lots more to come.
Yeah, I think that he maybe he has more. He's more powerful than we even know. I have no idea.
But I think it'll be an epic battle scene for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough.
2 more. Lift
was just like a fun character.
Yes, that was the nice like syringe drop full of like sweet, admirable, and like refreshing character that Sanderson threw in there, I think.
Yeah.
When you read her dialogue, you couldn't not smile.
Yeah.
She's just definitely so fun.
She's really funny, and she
just slides around, takes food, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, she means well, but she doesn't really. She handles interactions with people in a very unique Lift way.
Oh my God. And Lift acting like Navani, or just tearing up every food platter she could find.
Yep.
Just traipsing around the palace.
I think Lift is maybe one of the characters that I think is going to be involved in the future books, even if there's like a time lapse.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that maybe she could end up having a bigger role. I don't know. Yeah. Because she, in the end, who was the guy hanging? It was Zael, the sword master.
Yes.
I think that she ended up saving there.
Yep.
And then he said that was like exceptional talent. And then, so she has a teacher now.
Yes.
And after that scene, we didn't really hear anything else. So that's definitely going to have to be something that ends up being elaborated on.
Yeah.
Because I think she's finally realized that her whole goal of like wanting to stay young
Forever,
forever,
yep.
I don't think she's really digging that anymore.
Yeah.
She's kind of like
She's
ready
growing.
to start growing up. She's,
Yeah.
you know, she's mad horny. I mean, that is, you know, that is going on. I think that's one of the motivations for her to grow up is because she's always wanted to be this kid, but now she's like going through puberty and she's interested in all these men and now she's like, maybe being a kid forever is not great. And, you know, maybe
these feelings in my loins.
And maybe I need to like actually start like working on my powers.
Imagine.
She's like one of the only Radiants that like swore oaths and, you know, got surges, but then just like kind of just used them to help her continue to be who she was already.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't really like be like, okay, this is my new calling. I'm going to train. I'm going to get like really good. She hasn't even gone through that like arc yet.
Yes.
And Zael, I think, is also like, I think that they're going to really fit together because he's kind of like sarcastic and grizzled, but clearly has like a good heart underneath it all.
And he's an amazing mentor.
Yeah. So I think the story's not finished with Lift. I think it's just beginning to be developed. I hope that I'm right about that. I think that could be a cool character that blossoms.
Absolutely TBD for Lift.
Yeah.
All right, this is my final one.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you choose which one you want to talk about.
Okay.
Rock or Wit? We can talk about both. Let's talk about both. And for Rock, I put Soups. One good thing can stick and make someone's life better from generation to generation.
Yeah. I think Rock was another like feel good character for me.
Yeah.
Sad that we'd like never heard anything else about him, which makes me think hopefully like the story's still open on that. I think that Rock taught Kaladin a lot that he didn't even realize, like the concept of like, it's not just making the soup. It's like about bringing people together. It's about giving people kind of this, solace from everything else that's going on and like just like facilitating, making sure everyone felt like companionship and cared for.
Yes.
And that ended up helping Kaladin with his therapy.
Exactly.
With Seth.
I was going to say triple S. Soup saved Seth.
Yeah. Basically.
I just came up with that now.
Yeah.
I'm
Even
really
if the
clever.
soup didn't taste that good, it was good for, you know, for what it meant. For what it meant.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, Rock, great character. Unfortunately, you know, he went back on his oath to not kill anyone, and it would have been nice to have more Rock in our lives, but hopefully there's more.
I hope we see more.
Yeah.
Wit as a person, he will never not confuse me.
Yep.
And I feel like there's so much more. Every person who has read Stormlight has told me about his multiple roles in all the other collections. And will I ever get a grasp on how and why he is so powerful? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm guessing that we're going to learn more about that. Okay. But I don't really know.
Okay. Even really reading Mistborn, you still don't really know?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
He must be like God.
I hadn't really even considered that, but yeah, maybe.
Maybe?
I mean, like, we don't know. I don't know a whole lot about this Adenalcium, you know, that Wit and all these other people like raise and, you know, Tanavast and the others. I don't, they theoretically killed Adenalcium and then the 13 shards that comprised Adenalcium were separated and then they got picked up. So did Adenalcium die or just lose the power? I mean, that could be a theory.
That's possibly what could have happened.
But yeah, I don't know. Wit's like very
An enigma.
Yeah, an intriguing character, but like don't really know what's going on.
I think I've just had to embrace my confusion about him, and that has helped. Actually, just in general, sometimes like I would feel. I think this is just self-inflicted, but like feeling like I didn't have enough backstory to be familiar with some of the character names and everything like that. I'm like, oh, I don't really know this person yet, but that's okay. And I would kind of just have to just keep reading the story so that I didn't get too caught up in like, do I know what the background is to this character being here? And I feel a little bit that way with Wit.
Yeah, well, I think like Sanderson developed some of the different characters in different ways. Like some you met them and just kind of you grew with them, and other people you met them and then you learned all about their past.
Yeah.
And then how that influenced their future. And Wit's one of those ones where I think we just kind of got plugged into the middle of his arc. Mm-hmm. And we have no idea what came before or what will come, but I think he's going to be important. He has to be.
Yeah. Freaking flute, man.
Because clearly he has experience on these other worlds in the Cosmere too. Like he's got his whole thing that where he was at the end.
Yeah. God, how old is he? Yasna was absolutely, she was betting an absolute mummy.
But I don't like, could he be God? Like, I mean, before they destroyed this Aiden Elysium guy, like he was around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
so,
they seemed like peers,
Yeah, peers with all the other people that eventually, did the deed. And then he just decided that he didn't want to pick up one of the shards, which is mysterious. So yeah, there's probably a lot that we don't know, and I don't know what to guess.
Let it be known on this day, I think that Wit will be named or will have been revealed as a god back then. And if I'm correct,
is
we all rejoice.
The wind?
Or like Wit's like lover or something. Maybe.
Who knows?
That feels. But I know what you were telling me that sounded. This is so completely outlandish, and I don't think it's a theory. But remember how we were talking about how one of the like preludes for the chapters, it was written as like Seth's wife?
Yeah.
What if Seth's wife was like, all right, this sounds dumb saying it now, but Lift growing up. Like she's trained and she's battle hardened, and then, or is that too much? No, I can't.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's strike that for the record.
I don't know. I still see Lift as like a 12-year-old girl right now. So
okay.
I mean, but maybe. I mean, Zeth is still a child, really.
Yes, he's only just now emotionally maturing.
Yeah, like he's still like the 14-year-old boy or whatever that found the rock and then started him down this horrible path.
What a past.
At the end when he finds that Kaladin left his Molly, his sheep,
Molly,
you can tell he's just really still that kid. So more outlandish things could happen, but I that was not something that was one of my theories, I guess.
That one was a little far-fetched. I was really reaching with that one.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So much more to come. Thank you. I don't know if I ever said thank you for bringing me Stormlight, but I'm formally saying it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's single-handedly the best high fantasy that I've read as an adult.
I would agree. It's
very hard to find another one like this.
Yeah. Maybe if Patrick Rothfuss writes the third, the Doors of Stone or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is like a masterpiece, and there's only more to come, and I'm very excited. But I know that we're probably in for a long wait.
Oh my God, I know.
We will respect Sanderson's privacy at this time,
and we will not call for comments at this time. And we will respect his silence.
Yeah.
Just get to work. That's all we have to say.
Yes. Please.
Alternatively, something that Teddy and I have put you on was Dun-Dun-Dun.
Yes.
Did you finish it already?
I did. I finished. It's just one season, right?
Yes, and the next one's coming in July.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Just outlandish, it's just I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and it was just like, I don't know how someone thought that up to like, we're gonna steal this little boy's nuts, and then and then they're searching for them, and like, oh, some random girl's carrying one of them. It's like, this whole concept is kind of crazy, but I was very entertained by it.
It was, right?
Yes.
Did you end up watching American Primeval?
No.
Oh,
no,
my
I still
God.
haven't watched that.
Okay.
I started watching Arcane.
Oh yeah, we're on Arcane right now
which
too.
I'm still watching. I'm still in the first season. I think I'm like
Okay.
7 or 8 episodes in, but
Okay.
I'm liking that a lot so far.
Awesome. So that means we haven't started season 2 yet. Eventually, maybe we could do a debriefing on what happens in Arcane at a future episode.
That'd be fantastic.
I also feel like the record needs to show that I have introduced you to Critical Role, the TV show.
Yes.
Just so everyone knows, just in case that wasn't aware.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get into Critical Role eventually, but
And
just
this will also be something that we will probably have to start at the same time because the season hasn't come out yet. So we will actually have, be able to watch
the next
something.
season of Critical Role. You mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be much less daunting to just like start a new one.
Yeah.
Just when you go back and look at like the previous campaigns, it's like, oh, 4-hour episodes, and there's like 1,000 of them. It's like,
Yeah.
how am I possibly going to get through all this before like more stuff is being released? And
Yes. Did you know that Patrick Rothfuss was a guest on Critical Role?
I did know that.
Oh my God,
because
that was an amazing episode.
my friend Matt Brennan,
Uh-huh.
he is big into Critical Role, and he's actually watched like almost all of it, I think.
Wow. Props to Matt.
Yeah, Matt
Yeah.
he's one of the best nerds I know.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's just like, you want to play D&D, you want to play Magic, you want to watch Lord of the Rings, you want to get a good book recommendation, any of the above, go to Matt Brennan.
We're going to have him on.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd have a lot to say. He's a smart guy. He's
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, look at my thing.
So cool.
He's so cool. If I don't see a comment from him, I will absolutely perish.
Well.
Well,
no, he might be interested in watching this.
You think so?
He's a big star. Yeah, he's obviously like huge about the Stormlight.
Oh, I love it.
I think
would be
he's
so
already
interested
he's
to see what
already
he has to say.
he's already through like a second read or a second listen. I think he's just reading them, but I think he's read all of them twice already.
You know what? If I end up doing a reread, which I bought them all, I think we should have like a follow-up and have Matt on that.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt's the type of guy that when like, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows came out, the book, like midnight release, like I got it at midnight. I went home, I read till like 3 a.m. and then I went to bed, and then I woke up in the morning and texted him, and he was like, just finished. He's that type of guy.
Dude. Absolutely built different then.
He's
That's
built
what I'm
different.
hearing. Yeah.
He's a grinder.
You're just a mini grinder compared to him.
Yeah, well, I can be obsessive, like with Stormlight, for instance. It was a big undertaking, but like that was the thing that I enjoyed doing the most at the time.
Yeah.
So that was like, am I going to watch TV right now? Am I going to like do something else? No, I'm just going to either read
Hunker
or
down.
listen. That was
Okay.
like, yeah.
Well, it brought us this, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah, me too.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're very
It's been
welcome.
fun. Should do it again.
I mean, we should definitely do it again. For all the people out there, if you listened to this and you enjoyed it, if you read Stormlight, leave a comment down below. Also, like this video and share it with your friends, and let us know if you're huge nerds as well.
Yes, and if you haven't read Stormlight, you just need to.
Yes. Leave a comment and let us know if you're going to read it or not. or just like it, share it. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, just do your own thing.
Just do your own thing. Honestly, this will go into the universe and we'll see what happens. Thank you again, Jordan, for being here.
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right. We'll see you in the next one.
All right.
Bye.
Goodbye.